Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Anna, aka Brookwillow, and today I'm going to show you everything I've been working on this summer. I haven't done a podcast style video in maybe just over a month, which means I have a ton of things to show you. This one is going to be very spin heavy since we're in the middle of Tour de Fleece, but I do have a new knitting whip and some others that I've been working on, as well as a new sewn garment, which is what I'm wearing right here. If you follow on Instagram, you may have seen this already, but you haven't seen me actually wearing it yet. This is a pattern from Birgitta Helmersson's Zero Waste Patterns, which is a book that comprises of 5 different blocks, which are just like the base pieces. So there's like a t-shirt, pants, tank top, button up, and I forget what the other one was, a skirt. And then she later turns all of those blocks into 15 different patterns that you can make, combining the two together or like switching it up a little bit. I showed it off in some previous videos, but I do highly recommend it because it's super cool. But anyways, I made the block shirt, so it's just a classic button-up style t-shirt type deal. I love this shirt so much. I've already worn it. This is my 3rd time wearing it, and I just finished it on 4th of July. It was super stormy here actually, and I had been outside the whole weekend before, so I was a little burnt out and kind of thankful for the bad weather. So I spent the whole day inside alone and I made this shirt. But yeah, what a great way to spend the holiday. The fabric of this shirt is what really is the showstopper here. I got it from an online distributor called fabricmarket.com, and they have a lot of antique type fabrics, thrifted fabrics, secondhand fabrics. I think it's like a liquidation type website because everything is a super affordable price. And you kind of have to dig through a little bit to find good pieces, but I was so amazed when I found this fabric. And at first I for sure knew that I wanted to make a button-up style dress like this, but after I did my Everything I Sewn video, which was the last video I posted, I realized I have a ton of dresses, but I don't really have any blouses. So I decided to make this a blouse. I do have enough fabric to make a matching short set or maybe even a skirt, and that way if I want kind of the dress vibe, I can wear the bottom half and just tuck this in on top and it'll feel like a dress. Or I could pair it with like jeans, or I wore it with a pair of brown shorts last night. So there's a lot of different versatility that I can get from this, being that it's a shirt and not a dress. That's all I've sewn so far since we last chatted. I do have plans to make a sundress from this book. I can just go ahead and show you actually. And I already know which fabric I want to use for it as well. So this pattern is just called Sundress from the book, and it takes the tank top block and the skirt block and combines it into one, making this super cute, simple dress. The fabric I intend to use for this is also from fabricmart.com, and it is this pine green, super drapey fabric. But if you look closely, there's some subtle pinstriping and like almost twill type weave to it. I've been really into this forest green color lately. It actually is my favorite color of all time, but I've like almost overdone it with buying stuff this color and whatnot. So I took a long break to explore other color options, but I'm ready to just make something out of this. I think the other reason why I like it is because it's my eye color. You might not be able to tell on camera, but this is my eye color. So whenever I wear this color, especially with my blonde hair, I think it really just kind of brings out my eyes. So I'm excited for this. Maybe I will start cutting out the fabric tomorrow since I still have a day off tomorrow. That's all the sewing content I have. The rest of the episode will be all the fiber goodness. So I do somewhat have a finished object. It's not here with me, but if you remember the last podcast that I had, I was almost done making the Marseille Sweater by Petite knit for my aunt, and I was able to finish it, and I brought it down to her when I went to visit my family, and she loved it, and it fit her so beautifully. It really turned out great, and I'm really happy that I don't have to make any adjustments or anything to it. And I'm excited for when she gets to wear it this fall because it's a little too warm right now. But that's the only finished knit object I have. But I do have 3 different WIPs that I've been actively working on. So I'll first show you the one that I've made the most progress on. It's a little hard to show as a WIP because it's in 2 pieces, but I'll show you the first finished piece. This is for the Yoko top by Knitting for Olive. And I did show myself starting this the last time we talked, but it's a wrap style top. So it's knit in these 2 different pieces. And I believe that this is the left piece that I have here. And then it wraps down like that, and I'll have a long tie right here. And then I am getting close to being done with the right piece. So this is kind of how it'll wrap in front like that. Yeah, so basically I just have this strip to knit here, the I-cord strap, and then the other I-cord shoulder strap right here, and then I will be done with it. I'm not gonna lie, I cannot wait to be done with this because these 2 pieces are so big, since it's like doubling up around my waist, that it feels like I'm knitting 2 camisoles in one. And not to mention, I picked like the most boring yarn color imaginable. It's gonna be great to wear since it's such a neutral and a basic. Like, I'm gonna wear this top all the time, don't get me wrong, but knitting with this beige color has just been so boring. Thankfully, it has a 2x2 rib, so it keeps it somewhat interesting, and I'm like constantly increasing when I'm working this part right here. Otherwise, it would have been even more boring, but we're getting through it and I'm almost done. I guess I should talk about the construction too. This is knit sideways, so it's going to be a little bit more of a cropped piece, but I think it'll still be long enough because I wear all high-waisted bottoms. But yeah, it's a 2x2 rib, so it's nice and stretchy, so I could probably block it wider if I want the top to be a little bit longer. But yeah, I think it's a really fun construction. I've never knit anything sideways before, so I thought it'd be fun to try out. And I've been on a big wrap kick. Like, I want a wrap shirt, I sew a wrap dress, and I want to make a wrap skirt and maybe pants too. So all things wrap. So it's just fitting that I started with a knit camisole as well. But I should also talk about the yarn that I'm using to make this, and it is Knitting for Olive's Pure Silk, which seems to be one of the most popular summer yarns this summer and probably last summer too. It's just 100% barrette silk. I really like the feeling of it. It's very cool to touch, which is nice for hot summer days. And it doesn't have too much of like a halo or anything because it's not wool, so it's not grabbing onto your skin. I feel like it's just gonna lay nicely on top of my skin. But this is the color Cardamom. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I do like it. As you've probably seen from other podcasts and whatnot, it doesn't have any elasticity to it. So that's why I think it works really nicely with this top, because since it's a 2x2 rib, it's very stretchy, which kind of makes up for that lack of elasticity. I've been pretty monotonous on this project. I really want to get it done pretty quick because I do have like two or three more summer projects planned, and I want to be able to get it done and be able to wear it before summer ends. So trying to get this done as fast as I can. My next WIP is a new cast on that is never before seen, but I kind of wanted like a little palette cleanser, something a little bit quicker to work on to just get that like satisfaction of a finished object. Especially since that tank top, the wrap top I've been working on has just become kind of a slog a little bit. I just wanted to cast something on. So you all probably get it, like casting on a new project a little spontaneously is a lot of fun. So I've been thinking about making a summer bag for quite a while. I actually bought a pattern to crochet a bag, but I kind of lost my crochet mojo a little bit, and I've just been wanting to focus on some knitting. So I decided to look for a knitting bag, and I wanted something very beachy. I've been going out on the boat a lot on the river. I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of friends with boats, so I get invited almost every single weekend to go out, and I always carry on like a tote bag to have all of what I need in it, and I just wanted something a little bit cuter to match the bikinis that I have. So that's why after extensively looking through Ravelry, I landed on the Lanta bag by Paula Strickt. I really liked the way that the straps of the bag kind of formed into the I-cord-like straps. I saw a lot of square totes on Ravelry that just had the straps sticking up, but then the sides got like floppy on the tote, and for some reason that just bugged me. So this just flows really nicely into the straps, and I feel like it's very elegant, and I really liked the mesh pattern. The holes weren't too big where I feel like stuff would fall out or anything like that. But yeah, so this is how far I am right now. Not super far, but again, I wanted to take a little break to focus on the camisole, but tonight I'm actually going to my sister's house for an outdoor movie night, and I'm going to bring this to work on instead of the camisole to give myself a little break. But as you can see here, I did make a modification. I did add this thick band of stockinette stitch at the end, and that's because I just wanted to make sure that the bottom of the bag was pretty solid so nothing small would potentially fall through the little holes like lip gloss, or I don't know, if I have like knitting needles or something, less likely to fall through the bottom there. So I did make that modification, but then as you can see, I've moved on to the mesh pattern here. So this is actually knitting up super quick. It's using size 6 needles, which feel huge right now considering I've been using size 3 needles, US 3, on that camisole. So this feels like a very quick knit, and I'm loving that. I'm holding the yarn double. It's like a fingering weight yarn from Lion brand. So I actually bought this cone like a year and a half ago, I had the intention of making camisole number 2 with it because it's 100% linen. But when I got the yarn, I realized it had the consistency of like twine. And that was just a little too rough to wear next to skin, I think. Even after washing and blocking it, it was still pretty like kind of a starchy feeling to it. But yeah, so I always knew that I would probably make either like a pillow cover or an accessory of some kind with this instead. And I finally found the opportunity with this. And the colorway of this is Penny. So got a lot of this. I know I'll have enough to make a bag and probably another accessory, or maybe I can make that crochet bag that I was intending as well from this. So yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm excited to have it as a finished object too. I'm certain I'll be able to get this done quickly to enjoy the rest of summer. My next WIP, I can't remember if I showed you last episode or not. I think I did. But it's the Nightshift Shawl by Andrea Mowry. And I've made quite a bit of progress on it. So I'll go ahead and show you. As I was knitting this, I realized I think this is the most fun thing I have ever knit. Like, it's keeps my attention the whole time. It's so exciting seeing how the yarn will change throughout the whole piece. It's just like a big adventure in a way. I've had to actively stop myself from knitting this so I could focus on the summer knit, because I'm not even going to be able to wear this until fall anyways, because it's wool and it's going to be big and squishy. So I'm trying to hold off, but anytime I'm having like a harder day or I just want something really nice to work on, I've been pulling for this because it's just been so fun. But let's talk about the yarn. It's completely hand spun. I've been working on this for the last year, spinning this all up. I bought my wheel a year ago, I guess, and then I guess I started getting yarn or fiber to spin up for this probably in October. I signed up for Hello Yarn's monthly fiber subscription, and you basically get a 4-ounce braid every single month. So I thought it would be fun to spin up all of the colors and use them in this shawl, because it was making somewhat of like a mystery shawl since I didn't know what colors were going to be used. But these are what's left of 2 of the skeins that I knit up or spun up. And then I've got a big one of this colorway, this one, and this one. I won't go through all of the names because I feel like I've talked about this a ton for the last like 8 or 9 months. But if you're interested in what the colorways are, just go to previous episodes and I talked about it a bit more. But yeah, the way I spun this was a fractal spin, and it's a 3-ply. I wanted a really thick yarn because I think it called for a worsted weight yarn, if I remember correctly. So whenever I spin a 2-ply, it kind of ends up being like a DK or a fingering weight yarn. So adding that 3rd ply in really beefed it up a bit. And I like, it didn't make the color changing throughout quite as dramatic. It kind of blended the colorways together a little more smoothly. That kind of segues into the spinning portion of this episode, which, like I said, I do have quite a bit of it because we're right in the middle of Tour de Fleece. And I am actually on a team this year. So Casey from Young Folk Knits and I, we were kind of messaging on Instagram talking about it, and she asked if I was in one, and I said no, and she said, should we start one? And I was like, duh. So we started a group called Fleece Force, which feels very like superhero or whatever, but it's a very casual team. We don't really have a set goal. It's kind of like do your own personal goal, but we have a group chat that kind of gives the camaraderie of a team, which is fun. So everyone's kind of working on different things, and then we're just going to update our yardage at the end of each week. But if you would like to join Fleece Force, just reach out and I can add you to our group chat. We've got a lot of fun people on there, and it's been a lot of fun. My focus for Tour de Fleece is going to be working on my drop spindle. So I was a little inspired by Andrea Mowry because she was going to be focusing on that, and also Madison Monteith, who has a nice podcast as well. And they both are working on, hand spindles, and I realized I kind of miss working on mine too. I've been working on the wheels so much this past year, and I haven't even picked up my drop spindle, so I thought this would be a really fun time to kind of pick it up and work on it again. I was able to finish a spinning project that I have been working on for almost 2 years now, which is really wild. And I finally finished it, and that is these two skeins right here. I picked up this fiber when I went to a fiber festival in Minnesota, not last November, but the November before that. And it is from a company called Dakota Carding Co. And this is the pollinator blend, which is a blend of like 10 different types of fleece and dyed up in this beautiful green color with different like kind of golden and turquoise bits as well. That gives it a lot of good dimension. So it was kind of fun to see the difference my spinning is from almost 2 years ago to now, which it wasn't as big of a difference as I thought it was going to be, but you can tell a little bit between these two skeins. So this is the one that I did about 2 years ago, and this is the one that I did just recently. So there are a little bit less thick and thin bits in this one than there are in this one. You can tell the improvements I've made over these last couple years. But yeah, I'm really happy to have this done. I have no idea what I want to make with it. I haven't counted the yardage yet, or I haven't even weighed it yet. But I know I have enough to make like a hat, which I don't know if I want these colors for a hat, but maybe some mittens or use it in color work. Who knows? But if you have any suggestions on maybe what I should make with this, let me know down below because I'm at a loss. But I think they're just beautiful to look at on my shelf. So even if it takes a while to knit it up, I'm still happy that I get to look at it because it was a long project. There's something about a drop spindle too where you feel just even more connected with the fiber. So it just feels like I put like a lot more work into this. It was a great beginner spindle to learn on, but I kind of wanted to treat myself to a new one for Tour de Fleece since I've been working on this one for a while. I thought it was time to upgrade a little bit. And at first I thought like maybe I should try a different way to spin yarn on a spindle, like whether it be supported spindle or Turkish spindle, but I decided I've been taking on all these new hobbies lately. I just wanted to stick with what I know. So I decided to treat myself to a brand new spindle. And that is this one right here. So here is the top of it. It's all made out of wood. And then here's the side view. So it is a mini. And it's a one-of-a-kind piece that I got from woolery.com. The person who actually made it is Ken Ledbetter, and he signs the back of them and he also numbers them as well, which is just a really cool personal touch. You guys, I am obsessed with this hand spindle. It's so lightweight compared to this one right here, obviously because it's a mini, but I think there's just not as much volume of wood here as there is on here, and it also spins so much more even. It's kind of hard to tell, but maybe you notice a difference. It's not as wobbly as this one. So you can see this one wobbles a little bit more. And that really makes a huge difference when you're spinning on the drop spindle. So it's those little things that really just make it so much better. And I don't know, it's just so beautiful to look at. I also got some new fiber for this, and it's through a really cool program that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I finally bought fiber for it. So now I feel like I can finally share about it some more. So about a year ago, after I got my wheel, one of you lovely viewers reached out to me and asked if I had heard of the Shave 'em to Save 'em program through the Livestock Conservancy. And I hadn't heard about it, but I looked into it, and it is such a cool program. So it's kind of in the title, Shave 'em to Save 'em. So they're supporting a lot of small farms that have rare sheep breeds by encouraging people to buy their fiber to help sustain these sheep breeds and keep them, you know, in this world. So basically what you do is you donate, I think it was like $20 or $25 US, and you get a little passport, and in the passport has all of these different types of breeds, and you go to their online directory to find farms that sell this specific breed fiber, and if you buy through them, they'll send you a little sticker that you put in your passport. And then you spin up that fiber, do whatever you want with that fiber, and you post a picture of it with your passport and a sticker on their Ravelry group. And once you get a certain amount of stickers in the passport, you get little prizes and whatnot. So it's just a fun way to connect people with these small farms and encourage them to spin just this rare breed fiber. And I thought this was perfect because I wanted to learn about different sheep breeds. I know the common ones out there, but there's way more than I ever imagined there would be. And I'm a very hands-on learner, so I thought this was a great way to learn about it. I have the passport here to show you, but it's not fully put together because one of my dogs chewed it all up. But it had like a cute blue cover here, and filled with all of these different sheep breeds. You can write down little notes like date purchase, what project you made with it, and the day you completed it as well. I did reach out to them asking them if maybe they would send me a new one because my dog literally chewed it up, and they kindly are sending me another one, thank goodness. So maybe I'll show you that again once it arrives, what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, I decided to start with the Gulf Coast Native because that was on the most critical sheep breeds list, and I'm gonna work my way back to the less critical ones. But yeah, I was able to find a farm in Florida, and I bought 4 bats of fiber. So it came so cute, all put together. Each bat is tied up with this little piece of cardboard, but also a fabric strip right here. And I have got to tell you, this is like working with an absolute cloud. So she hand cards all of this fiber, and with this particular breed, it has a lot of kind of dense areas. So they say it's not really good to process commercially, so you really have to process it like with a hand carder. But let me just unwrap this bit I'm working on and show you the cloud that this fiber is. So this is from one of the bats that I've been working on, and it's just been so lovely to work with. It drafts so nicely, and I love it. Yeah, I have no idea how much yarn it'll produce with this, but my plan is just to do a classic 2-ply and see how much I get, and then I'll decide what I want to make with it. But I'm doing it all solely on the drop spindle here, which, like, Part of me is worried maybe I'll get bored because it's all one color and I've been used to spinning up all of these multicolored braids lately. But I've just been really interested in spinning up more one color or tonal bats of fiber because I tend to knit more with solid colors. So I don't want to have all of these crazy color yarns and nothing to knit with it. But yeah. I am having fun with it so far, especially because it's just been processed so luxuriously. So the package came with a couple other things, which is their farm business card, which I should mention, it's from Rock Mills Farm, which is, I believe it's from Florida, but yeah, they have other sheep there as well, which is Shetland and Karukul. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, so they have an Etsy shop, Rock Mills Farm. That's where I bought this from. And they also have an Instagram at Rock Mills Farm. And then here is the little sticker they sent, which I'll put in my new passport once that arrives. And then I thought it was really cool. They included this little sheet printed out from the Livestock Conservancy, but it talks all about the Gulf Coast native breed of sheep. I won't go into the whole thing, but they do have like a little blurb at the bottom. So usually there's about 4 to 6 pounds of fleece on each sheep. The staple length is 2.5 to 4 inches. The lock characteristics are single coated, open, wavy, or crimpy, and the colors are mostly white, some tan, dark brown, black, and multicolor in patches. So I don't know, it's kind of fun to have this information printed out, and I already read through the whole description, and now I'm working with the fiber, so it really helps me learn about it completely, because like I mentioned, I'm a very hands-on learner. Yeah, I'm excited to try out some other fibers, obviously, down the road once I get this spun up. I really want to find some that have a little bit different colors naturally, not just plain white, but it'd be fun to spin up like gray or dark brown or a blend of all of it and just see what I get with it. I'm not sure if I will leave this just white or if I want to maybe dye it naturally. I'll again kind of see how much I have in the end and what I'll want to knit with it as a project. I do have one more bit of spinning to show off. 2 more skeins of yarn that I spun up, and I'll show you this first one here. I posted this on my Instagram already, but I was using one of the months that I got from Hello Yarn that I didn't end up putting in the Nightshift shawl. Yeah, it was the spring colorway. I can't remember the name of it. I already got rid of the bag, oops. But I applied it with some Icelandic wool that I picked up at the same fiber festival as where I got this. And I got the fiber from Get Bentz farm, which they might also be Badger Face fiber now too. They kind of have 2 company names, I think, right now. But it was naturally dyed with walnuts, so it's actually this kind of yellow color. In here, I'll show it to you a little bit closer. I haven't washed this yet, so keep that in mind. But it's plied with this like buttery yellow, kind of creating a softer plied look throughout. So I had like half the amount of that Icelandic wool as I had with what I got from Hello Yarn. So I decided to make another plied skein with some leftover creamy white fiber that I got for free with the purchase of my wheel last year. And so I kind of wanted to do an experiment of how different it would look plied with the lighter yarn compared to the walnut yarn. And there is quite a big difference. This gives off such a more pastel-y vibe, and this gives off more of like an earthy tone. But I do actually have a plan to knit these up. I noticed Andrea Mowry was wearing the everyday cowl, I think. Yeah, she was wearing the everyday cowl in her Handspun in one of her videos, and I just fell in love with it. I'm not a huge cowl person, but I thought maybe I can be. Maybe I'll force myself to be if I really like one that I knit up. And there is a version in her pattern for stripes, so I kind of thought about alternating these two colors to make kind of a stripy everyday cowl look. So that's my plan with that. I'm not going to start it anytime soon because, like I said, I have all of these other summery projects, and I don't know, who knows, I might even change my mind on what I want to make with this by the time it comes around, but so far that's what I want to do. That is all the fibery goodness I have for you today. Like I said, it was really heavy on the spinning, but I don't think I'm gonna have a ton more to show next time since I'm just working on the Gulf Coast. But yeah, it was really great to sit down and catch up with everything I've been working on. Lovely to talk to all of you again as well. Yeah, I just want to say thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing and you won't miss out on any future content. In the meantime, I hope you all are enjoying your summer in the northern hemisphere here and your winter in the southern. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and we'll chat next time. Bye!